and welcome back to Daddy Dimes Radio. We're gonna be starting off with some NBA. Let's dive right into it. Curry, after hitting three threes in last night's game, he only needs 6 more threes to tie the record, 7 to break the record for the most threes in his career. Let's dive right into the NBA 1v1. Who would win? This is little new. LeBron James versus Michael Jordan.
I would say Michael Jordan, I think, would win in a 1v1.
Yeah, I agree with you there. MJ versus LeBron. I just think MJ would win that. LeBron with a team might beat him, depending on the team. But 1v1, I think MJ would win.
All right, how about Steph Curry versus Trae Young?
I think Steph would win that.
Yeah, I think Steph wins this one pretty easily. I think Trae is very similar to Steph. That's who I'd compare him to in the NBA. But Steph is just a little bit better.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler versus Jason Tatum.
I have Jimmy Butler. That's one of the toughest ones. That's tough, but I like Jimmy Butler, his ability in a 1v1. He's not as good of a shooter as Tatum, but I think he's able to score.
Yeah, I have Butler also. Yeah, Tatum better shooter, but Jimmy Butler really good at getting into the paint and scoring.
Yeah, and so is Tatum, but I also think Butler's a really good defender.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Shaq versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I have Shaq winning this one. So he's such a powerhouse in a 1v1. I think he could just get to the rim almost every time.
Yeah, I have to agree. That's definitely a tough one with Kareem's skyhook and scoring ability. But Shaq just has so much power over Kareem.
Moving on, Kyrie Irving versus Dame Lillard.
I have Dame Lillard. Because of his ability, I think he's a better three-point shooter. Maybe not as good of a ball handler or finisher, but better all around, especially. Well, actually, Kyrie is probably a good 1v1 player, but I have Dame.
Yeah, I also have Damian Lillard. Such a good three-point shooter. Irving's a good three-point shooter himself, just not as good as Lillard. And yeah, Irving has better handles, but I just think Lillard would win that 1v1.
Yep. How about Kevin Durant versus Magic Johnson?
This one's really tough. I think Magic.
I have to go with KD. I have to disagree with you. KD, I think he's just he's gonna get you buckets. He's so good at scoring, and Magic's biggest strength was passing. And KD's definitely a much better three-point shooter, so I have to take KD.
Next, Kobe Bryant versus Luka Doncic.
I've got to go with Kobe, one of the best shooting guards of all time, and Luka, who could become one of the best point guard / shooting guard combo guards of all time as well. But right now, Kobe, one of the best of all time.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant. I go with him. Such a good player. One of the best of all time. So I gotta go with Kobe on that.
All right. And real quick, let's get in our NBA 2K22 locker code of the week. We started this one last week, and last week's code has expired. But now our new one, we've got the My Team Iced Out Packs, where you'll do a ball drop and you can get your best reward probably being an iced out pack, then a diamond shoe boost, or if you get a little unlucky, 2 tokens to spend in the rewards there. I don't know what it's called exactly, but Yes, that's the 2K22 locker cut of the week.
Moving on to the weekly recap, the Hornets beat the Kings by 1 after De'Aaron Fox misses crucial free throws at the end of the game, losing the game there.
Yep. And then the Grizzlies beat the Lakers very easily. They're still without Ja Morant. How good are the Grizzlies? They've really been impressing a lot of people. How good do you think they are?
Yeah, they've been beating good teams like the Lakers. They blew up the Thunder. All of this without Ja Morant right now. I can't wait to see what they can do with Morant on the way they've been playing without him.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think they're slated for like the 4 seed in the playoff, and there's still tons of season to go. But if they can keep that, I think they can make it really far if Morant really pops off and plays extremely well and leads their team, because they have a lot of good role players around him, but they really need Morant to play extremely well.
Yeah, the Thunders beat the Raptors also by 1, just like the Hornets versus the Kings, as Toronto's buzzer beater gets waved off.
Yeah, that was a big win for the Thunder as they try to climb out of the bottom of the Western Conference. But the 76ers beat the Hornets by 4. They were led by Joel Embiid. And then earlier in the week, I guess, the 76ers beat the Hornets by 3 in overtime.
Yeah, the Wizards beat the Pistons by 3 in overtime with Kuzma's game-winning shot.
Yep, the Wizards continue to impress, and the Clippers beat the Celtics by 3. And how good do you think the Clippers are?
The Clippers beating the Celtics, good team. I haven't been monitoring a bunch of their gameplay, watching some of their games myself, but I think they're a really good team because they have Leonard, PG-13.
They don't have Leonard.
Oh. Wow, I forgot about that. Yeah. The Nets beat the Mavs by 3 as Harden ends up 1 rebound short of a triple-double.
Yeah, Nets continue to have one of the best records in the NBA, and the Jazz beat the Cavs by just 1. Donovan Mitchell had 35 points to lead his team.
The Hornets beat the Hawks also by 3, kind of a trend this week, on a 32-point performance by Miles Bridges.
Yep, and that's going to wrap up the NBA segment for this week. Let's go ahead and hop into college football with our Heisman overview as Bryce Young wins by a landslide, QB from Bama, and then D-end Aiden Hutchinson comes in second. A little bit of a surprise as he's a defender. And Harbaugh, his coach at Michigan, thinks he's going to be the number 1 overall pick this year. What are your thoughts on the Heisman voting this year?
Yeah, I thought Bryce Young was gonna win. Really good QB, even though I don't really like Bama. He's a really good QB, and he's just like I just saw it coming. And Hutchinson, really good defensive player, and I think he might go number 1. Yeah.
All right, and then in the classic Army-Navy game, can't remember how many meetings it was, but it's been so many. One of the biggest rivalries in college football, and Navy won this year. So that's just that game, that only game that was played yesterday. And now we have some of the best bowl games that we're going to predict.
Okay, the first bowl game, Oregon versus Oklahoma.
I picked Oklahoma. Oregon they beat Ohio State, but then they lost to Utah twice. Utah got them a pretty good bowl game we'll talk about here in a minute. And Oklahoma has disappointed as well. But I just think Oregon's even more inconsistent than OU, and OU will win.
Yeah, I also have OU going in for the dub against Oregon. Oregon definitely not exceeding expectations for this year.
Yep. And then next game we got Michigan State versus the ACC champions Pittsburgh.
I have Michigan State winning this one. I just think Michigan State, they just have the ability to beat really good teams. And they're such a good team by themselves. So I think they'll be able to pull out against Pittsburgh.
I have Pittsburgh winning this one. One of the top QBs in the country. Pretty controversial if he's actually better than Bryce Young, and Young just got the Heisman, but we won't get into that. Pittsburgh has really impressed me throughout the season and surprised me. I have Pittsburgh winning this one.
Next game, Wake Forest versus Texas A&M.
I have Wake. No. Actually, change mine. I have Texas A&M. Wake Forest, they lost to Pittsburgh in the ACC championship game. And A&M got that big win over Bama, only team to beat them this year. And, of course, they failed in some other games. But I think they have a decent chance of winning this one.
Yeah, I agree with you with Texas A&M. Good team. So is Wake Forest. But I think Texas A&M will pull out.
Then next game, Penn State versus Arkansas.
I have Arkansas winning this one.
I have Penn State on the other hand. I really liked Arkansas when they started off so hot at the beginning of the year, but they started to cool down, and they're starting to get back up again. But I think Penn State, a lot of their losses have just come from being in the Big Ten, who have so many good teams this year, almost as good as the SEC. So I think Penn State will be able to beat a non-Big Ten team.
Yeah. Iowa versus Kentucky.
I'm going to have to go with Iowa. Kentucky, their college football program is starting to take a big leap the past couple years. But Iowa, I think, has a strong team that's just, ever since they lost to Purdue, they've fallen off. So I like Kentucky.
Yeah, I agree with you there on Kentucky. Iowa, good team, but they did fall off.
I picked Iowa.
What?
I picked Iowa.
Oh. Sorry, I heard you wrong.
Yeah, but you picked Kentucky?
Yeah.
All right. Next up, maybe the biggest bowl game not in the college football playoff, Notre Dame versus Oklahoma State.
I have Notre Dame winning this game. Both teams, really good teams, but I just think Notre Dame will be able to pull it out. It'll be a good game.
Yeah, I agree with you there with Notre Dame. Oklahoma State coming off that loss to Baylor, heartbreaker moment at the end of that game. And Notre Dame's only losses to Cincinnati, and they play one of the toughest schedules. Even though they are primarily Pac-12, they play teams from all over the country, and I think Notre Dame will win this one.
Next game, Ohio State versus Utah.
Yeah, Utah climbed up to get a really tough bowl game with Ohio State, and they might regret it if they lose here, even though they did beat Oregon twice, and Oregon beat Ohio State. But that was C.J. Stroud's first career start, and now he's really started to heat up. He was one of the Heisman finalists. I think Ohio State will win.
Yeah, Ohio State, C.J. Stroud, Heisman finalist, like you said. Ohio State, good team. It was about, kind of lost my words there, but I think Ohio State will pull out against Utah.
Yep, and then next, our final bowl game. This one I predicted to happen in our last episode, so I'd like to see it. Ole Miss versus Baylor.
I think Baylor will win this one. It'll be definitely a good game, but I just think Baylor will be able to pull out against Ole Miss.
Yeah, I agree with you. Defense wins ball games, and Baylor has been using their defense to win all year. They used it big to defeat Oklahoma State, letting them back into it at the end of the game, but got a ton of turnovers and then got that big stand at the end of the game to prevent the rushing touchdown on 4th down.
Moving on to soccer. First time we've done soccer in this YouTube on this live streaming YouTube channel, and we're gonna start off with the MLS Cup.
Yep, yesterday was the big old MLS Cup championship, and NYCFC, New York City, defeated the Portland Timbers. The Timbers, the favorite, as the Timbers have been one of the top teams in the MLS for quite a few years now. A lot of you guys probably don't know that because you probably don't follow soccer, but New York City got a big win for their club yesterday. I think it's their first MLS Cup victory. I'm not sure, though. Let's go ahead and move on to something new, Premier League top 5 power rankings. So moving to England soccer.
For the my number 1 for the power rankings, Man City.
Yep, I agree there. I also had Man City, best record in the MLS and best record in the Premier League in a really well-built squad.
Next up, I have Liverpool.
Yep, I agree. Liverpool, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 years ago, but they absolutely dominated the Premier League, and they're continuing to play well now. One of the biggest fan bases for soccer in the world.
Number 3, I have Chelsea.
I also have Chelsea. They don't have as many powerhouses, but they have enough good players. And I believe, unless he transferred, they still have Christian Pulisic, the American, on Chelsea.
Number 4, Man United.
Yes, I also have Man United. Ronaldo started off there. Now he's came back. But they don't compare to their rival Man City, really. Coming off a win against Norwich City just a few days ago, but I have them slated at number 4.
Number 5, I have West Ham. I don't know if I have the name written down right, spelled correctly, but...
Well, yes, I think you do. It is West Ham. They have a better record than Arsenal, but I have Arsenal at number 5. They're just, I think, a better team that'll pass them here soon.
Yeah. Moving on to the NFL predictions.
So, yeah, guys, of course, it's 3:40 right now, so we're doing this after the games have started because we got a little busy. So some NFL games have already been going, but these are our predictions we already had written down last night. So,
starting off with the Ravens versus the Browns. Who do you have winning that one?
Well, I have the Ravens, but Lamar goes down, and the Browns took a big lead. But now it is 24-22. Browns only up by 2 as Huntley, the quarterback for the Ravens, I believe he's actually from Utah, the backup who got some snaps a few weeks ago, has played very well and led his team. Mark Andrews also been very good. There's 1 minute left, and oh, look at this. Justin Tucker just kicked an onside kick, and it was recovered by Baltimore. They have the ball with 1 minute left, only down by 2. So my prediction could come true.
Yeah, I had the Ravens down, and yeah, our both of our predictions did come true. But moving on to the next game, the Falcons versus the Panthers.
Yep, 2 5-7 teams fighting for a win or fighting to get into the playoffs. And I had the Falcons, and they did pull out with an 8-point win. Who did you have?
I actually had the Panthers for this game. So I got my prediction wrong. I just kind of on the Panthers. I just kind of felt like they would be able to win this one.
Chiefs versus Raiders was our next one. Who did you have?
I have the Chiefs.
Yep, so did I, and they ended up destroying the Raiders 48-9. Derek Carr played well, but it wasn't enough. They had to punt many times. They had tons of turnovers as well. And Hunter Renfrow also played great, but again, wasn't enough.
Next game, the Cardinals versus the Rams.
Yeah, so of course this game is going to be tomorrow, but it's going to be a fun one, a huge matchup, and I have the Arizona Cardinals winning.
Yeah, I also have the Arizona Cardinals, two really good teams facing off. But I think the Cardinals, such a good team, they'll be able to pull out against the Rams defense.
Yep, and another big matchup between two really good teams. The one has really disappointed with a bad record. The Bills versus the Buccaneers. Who do you have winning that one? It is up and going. Who do you have winning?
I have the Buccaneers winning this one.
Yep. I have the Bucs as well. Yeah, it should be a good game, but Bucs, Tom Brady, of course, much ahead of everybody else in the MVP race. Yeah.
Moving on to our NFL playoff predictions. This is the last thing for the episode. Why don't you tell us yours, Ethan?
Yeah. Real quick, an update. The Browns. My ESPN wasn't reloaded. Baltimore did recover the onside kick, but they weren't able to score. The Browns hung on to win. And the Bucs-Bills game is already going. Bucs already up 7-0. All right. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and hop into our playoff predictions. For the AFC, I have the Patriots at number 1. Then, of course, this was before today because it was predictions. I had the Ravens at number 2. That could fall off. The Chiefs at number 3. Titans at 4. Then Bills at 5. Chargers at 6. And Colts at 7. And I think the winner of the AFC is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, my AFC playoff predictions, number 1, Patriots, Chiefs at number 2, Titans, and then Ravens. Then at number 5, I have the Chargers, then the Bills, and then the Colts.
And then who do you think will come out on top for the AFC?
I think I agree with you on the Chiefs. If their defense can keep playing well, they have such a good offense, but their defense affects their win rate so much.
Yep. And then finally, for the NFC, I have the Cardinals at number 1, the Bucs at number 2, Packers at 3, Cowboys slated in at number 4, the Rams at number 5, 49ers at number 6, and then the Eagles at number 7.
Yeah, mine is almost exactly like yours, but I have the 49ers at number 7 and the Eagles at number 6.
Okay, and then I forgot to mention for the NFC, I think the Bucs will win, and then they'll beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, a repeat of last year.
I actually think that the Cardinals will face the Chiefs, but I believe that the Cardinals would end up beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
All right. And then finally, to wrap it up, we're going to do another thing we started last week, our fantasy streak update. I'm currently on a winning streak of 3, but I did lose a lot this week. My all-time record is down to 15-16. So, yeah, I'm struggling a little bit on my all-time record, but doing very good right now. How about you, Levi?
Give me a sec. I had it up, but now the Wi-Fi is loading. This should only take a minute. Here, I can give us a score update. Okay, wait. Sorry about this, guys. Internet's kind of slow right now.
It's okay. We could just update them next time. It's fine, unless it loads right now.
Yeah, it's still loading in.
All right. Well, then that's going to wrap up Daddy Dimes Radio, Episode 6.